Why is it some people look so much better than others in the gym? This sounds like a really obvious question, but it's a fair question. Like, why is it that if you go to the gym 2 to 3 days a week and do the exact same exercises as another guy, he can look so much different, yet you look the exact same? You could blame it on age, genetics, juice, but the reality is you can't control any of that stuff unless you're looking to get a little needle up the bum. Plus, I honestly don't think they make anywhere near as much of a difference as what I'm about to show you. What I'm about to show you, I feel like never gets spoken about, yet it makes all the difference. Like, if you're not doing this properly, there's almost no point going to the gym if you're going there to look better. So in this video, I'm going to go through the exact process that builds muscle, why you're probably only doing about 10% of it, and how to do the other 90%. Doing this right will mean you only need to go to the gym 2 to 3 times a week max to like really transform in only a couple of months. And I've been coaching for 8 years. I've helped hundreds of blokes go from training 5 days a week, eating out of Tupperware and getting no results, to training 2 to 3 times a week, eating meals that they like and fit their lifestyle, and get results like all of these. Everything I do is about getting the best of both worlds. It's living how you want to live and eating what you want to eat while looking the way you want to look without becoming an annoying fitness freak. So I'm about to go through a lot of like nitty gritty sciencey stuff. If you want a nice simplified version that you can look through in your own time, click the link in the description. There's a 40-page hypertrophy handbook. It has a bunch of training programs you can follow and all the things I'm going to cover in this video. So before I go through how to unlock this 90%, let's talk about what we're trying to achieve. When we go to the gym, we can pretty much train for 2 things. Number 1 is like strength and performance and improving the ability or quality of the muscle. Number 2 is increasing the thickness and the size of the muscle, which is what makes people look like they go to the gym. We call this hypertrophy. Hypertrophy is when your muscles grow thicker and larger due to excessive tension. When your muscles detect too much tension, it tells the body to increase the thickness and the size of them to handle that tension better next time. This thickness and size is what makes you look like you go to the gym and gives you a good toned look. Just going to the gym, doing random exercises and swinging around random weights is not going to get you this. To unlock the first 30%, we're going to talk about following a proper training program. When I talk about a training program, I don't mean just going to the gym and doing whatever you feel like on the day. I mean, if you've got 3 sessions, session 1 looks the same week 1 as it does week 2, as it does week 3, same as sessions 2 and 3. So if for session 1, you do bench press, 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps, and then after that, you do a superset of shoulder press and bicep curls, right? The next week, it's gonna look the exact same when you do day 1. It's gonna be bench press, and then it's gonna be shoulder press and bicep curls. Now, just having a program is only one part of this. Having a good one is the second half. And by that, what I mean is it needs to be designed around the muscles you wanna grow. So for the muscles you wanna grow, you wanna be aiming for 15 to 20 sets per muscle group per week. For the muscles you don't really care about, you can do 4 to 10 sets per week just to kind of keep them moving, keep them alive. Now, if the whole training program thing already feels a little bit complicated, there's 4 free training programs in my hypertrophy handbook. Just click the link below in the description and you can grab it for free. Now, I know this may sound kind of boring, but trust me, it's so much better than just going into the gym and doing whatever. Not only is it so much more effective, but also you don't have to worry about that when you go into the gym. You just go into the gym, look at your phone and do the exercises on the list, and they're going to be exercises that you're familiar with and getting quite strong at. So it takes so much stress out of the gym. And if you have the right structure in your training program, you're practically guaranteeing you're going to progress and get stronger every week if you do this one thing. That one thing is progressive overload. That is just a fancy word for lifting more weight or lifting more reps per week. The question is, of course, which one do you focus on? Like, are you trying to lift more weight or are you trying to lift more reps? Now, the answer to that is rep ranges. If my bench press is set at 3 sets of 5 to 8 reps, my first set, I might go up and I might get 8 reps of 40 kilo pretty easy. That's my sign to go up in weight because I've hit the top of the rep range. The next set, I might get 50 kilo for 8 reps again, right? And then the final set, I might get 6 or 7 reps of 60 kilo. What this tells me is the next time I go into the gym, I probably still can go a little bit heavier, especially when you account for me being tired from the first couple sets. So let's say the next week I put on 70 kilo and I get like 4 or 5 reps. That is actually perfect. That means I found a really good working weight that I can work on progressing, because the first couple of weeks of a training program, you're just learning how to do the exercises properly and getting used to them. So then you focus on getting 70 kilo up to 3 sets of 8. Once you've gotten that, then you can increase the weight again. So something worth talking about is, why do we need to try and get stronger each week? The closer we get to failure, the more tension we produce. Tension is what helps us build bigger muscles in terms of hypertrophy. You imagine if you're benching 40 kilos, there's not that much tension on the chest. Whereas if you're benching 70 kilos and the body's really not used to that, there's gonna be way more tension, like this. When our muscles detect tension, it sends the signals that we need to increase our muscle thickness and muscle size. So the more tension that it detects, the more thickness and size the body needs to adapt with. And while good program design and progressively overloading each week is good, it's still only about 50% of what gets really, really good results in the gym. Even if you were following a good training program and getting stronger each week, what really matters is how you're doing the exercises. What you need to be focusing on is the eccentric. So when we're doing an exercise, we pretty much have two phases. We have the concentric, which is doing the rep, and the eccentric, which is right after that, kind of like reloading the rep. The concentric is what most people focus on. If you're doing a curl, that's pulling up the dumbbell. The eccentric is the other part, it's going back down, and most people completely ignore this, but this is kind of the secret to building a great physique and focusing on hypertrophy. The reason why the eccentric is so important is this is when your muscle is the most stretched out. You take a bicep curl, for example. As you're lowering the dumbbell down, your bicep's getting longer and longer and longer. You think about a rubber band. If I pull the rubber band tight, that's when the most tension is on the rubber band. It's the exact same thing with our muscles. So if you look at me doing these two curls, the normal one barely spends any time sitting in this lengthened phase, and therefore there's not much tension on it. And not much tension means less messaging to thicken and build the muscles. Whereas the eccentric focus one spends heaps of time under tension and therefore sends a lot more signals to thicken and build the muscles. So when we're doing an exercise, controlling the eccentric is one of the most important parts. A couple of examples of this are the bottom of a squat, the bottom of a bench press, the bottom of a bicep curl, or the top of a tricep pushdown, the bottom of an RDL, or the bottom of a pull-up. But it's really important you do this bottom part the right way. It's not just going down there or going slow. You have to produce as much tension as possible. And that's when we talk about accumulating tension. So if we think about the rubber band again, right? If I pull that rubber band tight and hold it tight for 30 seconds, that tension accumulates and damages the rubber band. Whereas if I pull it tight, relax for 30 seconds, it's a lot less total tension on the rubber band because it's not accumulating. Now, that's all the sciencey stuff done. If that was overwhelming or confusing, my hypertrophy handbook has a page per point, so you can take your time, read it, and really internalize it, bring it to your training. Make sure you click the link in the description to get a copy of it totally free. I'm sure you've heard of this before, and honestly, I believe you do this, but consistency is key with all of this. This is the next 20%. Now, especially that you're doing the right things, if you can do them consistently for a couple of months, I guarantee you're going to look like a different bloke by the time summer comes around. But I'm not just saying lock in, go crazy, train, blah, 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 all that sort of stuff. I'm not a fan of that. Like, you're going to have real life. You're going to have weeks where you're sick, the kids are sick, work's busy, whatever, and you're not going to be perfect. So that's what we want to talk about when we talk about consistency. How can we do the bare minimum, still get really good results, but also like prepare for life? The cool thing about building muscle is you actually don't have to do that much when you're doing that first 80% already. If you follow a training program from the Hypertrophy Handbook, it'll get you doing about 20 sets of chest per week. The thing is, getting 10 sets of chest per week is already a lot and it's going to get you a lot of growth. You get diminishing returns with the more sets you do. So although you still get more total kind of points of hypertrophy, it is diminishing. So if you get 15 sets or even 12 sets, that's still really, really good. And the way I would do this is I'd still do all 3 sessions if it's a 3-day training program. But if you've had a really big day at work and you need to get your gym session in, I would just go in and do half the sets, especially when you look at, you're probably going to do 2 of those workouts during the week. Pretty good. One day you're really cooked. If you go in and, maybe don't completely push to failure, use a little bit lighter weight, maybe do 1 or 2 less sets per exercise, you're still going to get really good results because you're being consistent, you're doing the work, you're putting the sets in, but you're also going to be able to keep that up long enough to get some really good results. So if this is all new to you, I definitely recommend downloading the Hypertrophy Handbook. It has a whole bunch of free training programs in there and it has all the sciencey stuff I talked about, probably explained a little bit better. And if this is all seeming still a little bit complicated and you just want it done for you, click the link below to book a call with me. We can talk about one-to-one coaching. You get custom training programs, custom meal plans, all designed to get you in really, really good shape, especially with summer coming up in the next couple of months. It can be worth doing, but I'm not a big salesman. Like, if you get on the call, we're just going to talk about, hey, what are you struggling with? How can I help you? This is what I do. Are you interested? Awesome. Go have a think about it. You don't need to sign up straight away. I don't do sign-ups on the phone. I don't do 6-month minimum terms. It's just a month-to-month thing. If it works out, awesome. If not, no stress. But thank you for watching the video. Subscribe for more content like this.